I'm not a freak.
Welcome back to B3, or otherwise known as Building Business Bridges. We got it right this time.
You got it right, girl.
And I have Miss Shara from Sift and Sort as my co-host here. And by the way, I do Bony Booties, beach rentals, Flagler electric bike rentals, and tree trans. So I don't have anything else to do.
That's what you do.
And you do Sift and Sort and a host of other nonprofit things you're involved in. Who is our guest today, Miss Shara?
Well, we have Mrs. Ellie, I'm going to say it, DeCristofaro.
Oh, yes.
Very Italian.
Very Italian. You got to go like this.
She did the right, yep.
Do this.
The right
All right, we got that. We got that. Welcome to the podcast today, Ellie. And tell us what you do.
So I'm glad to be here. Thank you,
We're
guys.
glad to have you.
So I am the funeral director at Lotus Funeral Services here in Palm Coast. I have 10 years experience in funeral service. I was originally from the Northeast.
Okay.
And
There's a lot of those here.
Yeah.
The sixth borough.
Yeah. We moved for the weather, as most people do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know, how does a young lady like yourself choose funeral directoring as a profession?
So when I was younger, all of my great-grandparents were still around. But unfortunately, that also means that they would pass away, one at a time throughout most of my younger years. So I went to a lot of funerals. I saw a lot of things, a lot of different styles of funerals. I really was curious as to why we do what we do when we grieve our loved ones, why we do the open casket, why we do the viewing, why some people, you go to see them and they're in a little container, And so I was always a little curious about that. And then from there, when I was in college, I went to a college in Western Mass. And just for business. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to create my own internship. And I said, I think I want to do this at a funeral home so I can see if this is something that I can, do a little bit more of, learn a little bit more about. So I did that and I absolutely fell in love with the job. I've been doing it ever since. Yeah.
You have to fall in love.
Well, you don't hear
really-
people say that too
I
often.
know.
But what is the core thing that caused you to fall in love with that?
It's so rewarding. And I just mean in a way that once you have an experience where someone has lost a loved one and maybe they've seen them sick for a really long time, they've seen them get sick for years and they don't look like themselves anymore, you give them one last opportunity to see them the way they're supposed to be and see them in a way where the memory is going to be positive for them and not painful. And once I saw that, and all it took was a family to come up to me and just say thank you.
Oh, wow.
And from there, that's all I need.
So it wasn't really the science of or the how to, do a burial or an embalming. It was more of the human connection that we're talking about here.
That was what made me fall in love with it,
Got
for
it.
sure. Then when I went to school for it, you do have to go to mortuary school for a couple of years. I went to school for it, and then I was able to fall in love with the actual
Science
practice,
and
the actual
business.
science.
Can you walk us through your little school, kind of what that was like and what you learned?
Yes.
And the requirements.
The program really, it's a 2 or 3 year program, depending on what you're doing. You learn the business aspects of it. So it's a little bit of business and accounting and things like that, kind of understanding a small business. And then after that, you do a lot of the sciences as well. But what you are required to do is have an internship. So really where you're learning is on the job and not at the school. So you're required to also be working in a funeral home. So while I was in school full time, I also worked in a funeral home full time. And that's where you learn everything, the culture. I mean, the industry has its own vocabulary.
Yeah, I grew up in the North, specifically New Jersey, and some of my uncles may or may not have been involved in Italian mob things. But I remember trench coats and hats and just like there should be another like a weapon under the trench coat. And I was watching all this at age 14. And I specifically remember sitting in the very back corner, being a little creeped out by what I was seeing for the first time. Take us through some of the just age-old cultures that are still alive today, and some that just have been replaced by new, refreshing things.
So, I mean, a lot of funerals are still very traditional, like you described with the trench coats, and just very formal, very
Right.
traditional. And a lot of those are the same, especially in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found that here it's a very different style. And I do think that the Northeast is starting to catch up to that. It's a more modern style of doing a funeral where it becomes less about, I guess what it used to be was more about
Doom
that
and gloom.
person's, yeah. You were assigned a background, maybe your religious beliefs or whatever, and that was how you grieved, and that was how your whole family grieved, and that was
Exactly,
the
yeah.
practice. And now I think funerals are more about the person, like they're more
Well, the
about
term
person.
celebrating life,
Yeah.
you know, in the last couple decades has been used instead of funeral or whatever other terms they were. So it's
That's
celebrating their
exactly
life
right.
rather than celebrating or mourning their death, I should say.
Yeah, much more personalized.
Exactly the difference in mourning a death versus celebrating a life is literally night and day. And if you can think of just the regions that are going through these rituals, you know, in the north it's a little dark and dreary, and in the south it's bright and sunny. So it reflects the area we're in.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Can you talk about how the turn to cremation has gone like buku rather than embalming and full body viewing? The turn of the century.
I know. There's been a big shift there. That's been kind of slowly happening over the years. And honestly, I think it mostly started as a financial decision. I mean,
I would agree with
cremation
that.
is so much more affordable than a traditional funeral and burial. I mean, they used to do, you know, the 2-day visitation and in the
I used
evenings.
to dread that.
Really,
Dread
yeah.
it, especially
people
as a
still
young
do it.
person. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exhausting. And then what are you doing? You're not grieving for all of that time anymore. I mean, you're
No,
exhausted.
usually eating chicken parm or something.
Hopefully, if you're lucky.
Yes.
But, you know, I think with cremation, I think a lot of people choose that for more reasons than just the cost is. There's so many more ways to memorialize someone who's been cremated, whereas with someone who's just being buried, you know where they're going to be. They're going to the cemetery, they're going to that plot, that's where they're going to be. With cremation, I find a lot of people, they want to travel. They want to travel, and they can take that person with them.
Well, I was just going to say, being a transient society, we're causing that change in how one wants to be buried or remembered. And I know for my parents, they just went completely away from the traditionals. They moved down here and they chose to be cremated and interred into a columbarium. And I was so grateful for that, because the opposite, I can remember my grandmother, I visited her grave once. I was very close to her, but she was underneath the Anheuser-Busch sign at Newark Airport. And, you know, when I visited there that one time, I didn't feel safe at all. So that was unfortunately what their family bought into, and it was their tradition. But I was grateful, so grateful that my parents didn't choose to go that route.
And I think a lot of the
So
religions,
refreshing.
it is refreshing because I think some of the religions also, I mean, me being Jewish, I'm definitely getting cremated, which, you know, who knows what'll happen. But my father, who's going to be 83, he does have all his plans, but he is really seriously considering. And that is something that I would never hear coming from his mouth. Because I told him, I said, I'm not coming to visit you.
Right.
I'm not coming. My mother's over here in Flagler. I haven't been there in 5-6 years. I go there. It's miserable. I cry. I'm sad. why? I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather do something else, which I'm hoping to get into. What is, all the modern ways of doing things with
Well,
cremation and
yeah.
cremated remains.
Let's talk about that. What are the options, and is there anything that we can say to alleviate some of the emotional stress that someone may be feeling just listening to this podcast and just wondering what's going to happen to them or their loved ones?
So really, that's something people wonder about a lot. What's the right thing to say at that time? And really, there is no right thing to say. There are a lot of wrong things to say, but
We can go over some of
really-
that too.
I know,
Yeah,
but
don't
really,
say that.
say nothing. Say nothing. Just offer support and listen.
And food.
And food.
Offer food.
Food is always.
Bring a plate of brownies.
Let your food speak for you.
That's your
Yes.
food.
Yeah.
Yes, offer comfort in a way that's not necessarily words, because there are a lot of platitudes people will offer, but
And plus, there's a lot of people who have guilt, so
Yes.
that just eats you up during grief also.
yes, absolutely. And I think people really just need they need the presence. That's it. They need the presence. They need to know that you're there. They need to just have someone to listen. That's my favorite part of what I do is sitting down with people and
You're an angel.
listening to them.
Because that's hard.
And you could see looking at her, and thank God that we're live or on TV, that you
Yeah.
could see her, because she is, look at her, a
She's
breath
calm,
of fresh air.
cool, and
She's not
collected.
like that old, man, that man, and he's all mean, and you just,
And you're actually wearing pink, not
yeah,
black.
right,
course.
yes. So I think it's wonderful having Ellie around, because I think it calms people to know that you could laugh, you could, share
It's
those
okay.
intimate moments with her where there's no judgment, and she's young and she's cute and she's fresh and she's just, I don't know. And we love Ellie.
We definitely do laugh in every arrangement. Honestly,
That's fantastic.
There is at least a point where, we feel our feelings, and there are tears, of course, as there should be. There should be a safe space for you to feel those feelings. But where there's a safe space, you should also feel safe to kind of talk about the funnier things, because
Right.
it really is, it's not about their death as much as it is about their life. Really equal parts. Of course, someone has been lost and you're grieving, but they had a whole life.
Yeah.
They had a whole life, and you've got way more memories of that.
This is so refreshing to be talking about this. What does a person bring into a conversation with you when they're just starting? They've lost their loved one, they come in, then what happens next?
So typically what I'll do is I'll kind of figure out what they're thinking for services. I mean, some people really have a specific idea of what they want to do. They're like, I just want the cremation. I would like to take my mom, to this specific beach that she loved, and I'm going to scatter, which, you're not supposed to do. But they have a very specific vision of what that looks like, whereas someone else, maybe they'll walk me through what the service will look like and exactly what songs they want sung, whatever that looks like, whether it be the chicken dance or Ave Maria. Yeah, I mean, everyone's so different. It's so personal.
Right.
So they come to me with their vision of, how to honor that person, and I do my best to put that all together in a budget that works for them and isn't going to be this life-changing thing in a bad way,
So you said a budget, and a budget is a very important thing, and people could be taken advantage of at one of their most emotionally vulnerable positions. How do you guide and direct a budget conversation with somebody, especially if they may or may not be able to afford it?
It's hard. It's a hard conversation to navigate, and prices for these things do vary greatly. They really do. It depends on, where you're at. There are some locations that are very historical and very well known, and you pay for that, It's hard to have that conversation, but really people need to hold more value in memorializing. We put so much value in things like weddings. Weddings are maybe the most expensive thing you're going to do, aside from buying your home.
Right.
And people put that money aside, and they'll drop that money all at once, and they don't even think twice about it, because they're like, it's my wedding.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And hopefully, you get one of those.
And hopefully you get one.
But you really only get one funeral. You really only get one funeral, and you really only get to mourn that one person one time, and to memorialize them this one time. And it's interesting, I wish people could see the value in that, because it happens one time, and it should be exactly what you're imagining. Exactly.
Do you
what
talk
need.
people out of overspending?
I tend to sometimes, especially when it comes to extra items that they might not necessarily need, or maybe they want more time to think about it. I don't talk them out of it as much as I sit with them, and I try to
Guide
take on
them.
the mindset of we're having a family meeting. I take on the mindset of we're having a family meeting. I'm here with you for that family meeting. And I think, this time could be better spent on this, or maybe this money we've allotted for this could be better spent on this. And I do try to help shuffle around.
Yeah.
Can you go into the pricing of Lotus, just because I know it is the least expensive in the county, and the reason why, if they don't have any finances, that they really can afford it?
So we are the least expensive in the county at this point. Our direct cremation is about $1,100. I mean, that's the pricing I'm familiar with where I come from. It was affordable for anybody in the surrounding towns. And it was just a small family-owned place. That's what I'm used to. And people didn't really have to think twice about it. And it wasn't going to cause them, maybe financial ruin, just to have this.
It's the last thing you need. You're already grieving. You don't need financial ruin to go along with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And try to manipulate you into spending more, because if you can go into some of the other, not to name any locations, but their direct cremation may be one price, but then all of a sudden by the time you leave, it's almost double.
Right. Hidden fees are a really
It sounds
big
like
problem.
taking a vacation. They're junk fees that are hidden. The cruise package, the drink package, the Wi-Fi package.
They say, "Oh, you wanted to eat on this cruise?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And you want a soda?
Then you get on the cruise.
I
There's no way
know.
you could. Well, some people may be able to drink 15 drinks a day, but that wouldn't be
know.
me.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So I see a place where I know for me as a child and young teen, I didn't want to be there. Are children being included in this more?
So that's a great question. I think children should absolutely be included in
Right,
it more.
because they have to grieve too.
I don't know. I see the same amount of children as I've always seen at services like that. What I have seen a lot more of is letting them be involved, which I love.
That's interesting.
Letting them, if there's a point in the service where people say, would anyone like to stand up and say anything about this person? Offering that opportunity to a little girl. I recently had that experience, and she got up there and she said the funniest things, like, even though you're super old, I thought you were so cool. And I love that. She's going to remember being given that opportunity and feeling like she had a voice in that moment, because
that's part of her grieving process.
Yes. And what I find is that so many children, they don't really get to grieve. Not only do they not know how, and they need to learn that, but the parents are grieving too.
Well, to ask another question to what you just said, how do people grieve is different for everybody. We may not know how to grieve as adults.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to learn there.
Yeah, we don't know. Every journey is entirely different. It depends on so many factors, and I just think we need to get more comfortable.
Talking about reality and inevitability of what's going to happen while we're alive, because if you're alive, anything that's alive dies. So my confusion is why can't we talk about this without being morbid or without getting upset, or it is upsetting, but I feel like the more you talk about it, the easier it is, because then you know what your loved ones want. There's no guessing, and then you have less regret after the fact, because what each other wanted, especially spouses. Somebody, unfortunately, a child passes, unexpectedly. That's something different. And there's always going to be regret and remorse there. But I say talk about it.
Talk about it.
What?
Yeah, get it out there. I think a lot of it has to do
You want to
with
play the chicken dance? Play the chicken dance.
traditions have bogged us down.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that tradition, but we have to kind of move away from that a little bit to deal with what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I know in like other cultures, it's
Right.
like your birth when you die because there's more to this world that we know of. And it is a celebration, not of life, but of your death. Because now you're free as a bird.
Right.
I mean, this is just, I don't know what happened, but here we are.
And hopefully you've got everything you wanted, because you were open to talking about it. You were open to telling people what was important to you. And I think people could definitely afford to talk to each other more about that.
Yeah, I don't want my family, my girls, I have 3 daughters, to have anything to deal with at that time. I want, and I've worked towards this, we have worked towards this. I want everything to be wrapped up with a nice little bow, and all they have to do is handle the details so they have room to grieve.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, that really is the greatest thing about the concept of pre-planning. It seems so crazy. I know it seems like such a crazy idea to just sit down and talk about your own funeral and your own death. But doing that takes so many of those little decisions that make up one whole funeral.
Right.
Those small decisions along the way, even as simple as burial or cremation, or service or no service.
Right.
Or, are you going to be going to church? Are
To
you
take
gonna
that
wanna-
packet and just say, here,
Yes.
this is what we're doing.
Yep.
You don't have to deal with a thing.
Yes.
That's the
Except-
best gift you can give anyone.
Yeah.
That's, to me, is the gift of love.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
love them so much that I want them to just be in the moment of grieving,
Yes.
and I'm going to be missing them. They'll be missing us.
I think that they'll be thankful. Instead of,
Yes.
such grief, which of course we'll go through, but just to be thankful, like, wow,
They did this for
everything's
us.
done. I don't have to make any decisions or again have
Right.
any regrets of decisions. And I should have did this, should have did that. Because that's something that you're haunted with for the rest of your life.
Honestly, I don't want them talking about me when I'm in a better place, saying, "Oh man, she left us this stupid
Mess.
vase. What am I going to do with this thing?"
Yeah.
or
I don't even know
whatever
what
it
she
is.
wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not what she wanted.
No.
So a little bit on a personal note, you're married.
Yes.
Would you like to get into your little family real quick and tell everybody
my
that you
little family.
a little family?
Yes. So my husband, his name is Nico. As you heard from the very, very Italian last name. So he actually works in funeral service as well. He works at a cemetery, and so that's been kind of cool to be able to raise our daughter, who is she's 4.5. It's been kind of cool to raise her within this industry, and I have made it a goal to kind of learn how to talk more to children about these kinds of things
I
and have
think
them not be
there's-
afraid.
There's media, there's books, there's just avenues to explore
Yes.
and helping children deal with grief.
The resources are there.
Yeah.
I just realized that light is on.
Okay.
That's so annoying. Sorry. That means like
this is
that
the
light.
end of it.
Yes,
the light
right.
that tells us it's time
Like
to
the end
wrap
of the
it up.
tunnel. So annoying.
Yeah,
I feel like it
Don't
just
go
goes
towards
by.
it.
It
Don't
just
go
goes by
towards
so
the light.
quickly.
it always does because by the time we get to digging into, no pun intended. By
Ah.
the time we get to digging into the real meat of the topic,
Yeah, it's over.
it's hard to back out of it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yes.
Ellie, tell everyone how to contact you. Of course, not that they want to, but they will have to eventually.
Hopefully you don't have to contact me. That's so hard. It's hard to make friends in this industry. People don't want to come see you.
Right.
They see you soon. They say no.
But to talk about coming to see you,
Yes.
you're not walking into red velvet, thick, dark curtains. You're
No,
walking into a
no.
very light, refreshing, coastal
Yeah.
vibe.
Very beachy living
It's
room.
beachy,
vibe.
it's bright,
Yeah.
and it looks like it could be a living room.
That's what we've heard the most. They
Yes.
said, this feels like I'm just in my living room.
Right.
And again, that adds to that feeling of kind of sitting down with your family and and just talking
So
everything through.
kudos to Nina and to you
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
making it feel like it is a home environment and that you can relax here and just deal with the emotions and the business at hand.
Absolutely.
And I think this is what it's all about, you know,
Yes.
again, having your own business and being able to do all the things that you wish you could working for someone else.
Yes, absolutely. That's the vision. And yeah, if you want to think about your own funeral, you know,
Yeah.
you want to think about your own, or, you know, maybe your spouse or something like that. Pre-planning really is the best way. It's the best gift you can give to your loved ones that you leave behind, is take all that extra pressure and decision making off of them at that time.
And you do that at Lotus.
We do, yeah.
Together with the family, you do the pre-planning so it's all set and
Yes.
ready to go.
Yep.
And like they say, you know, you get to actually know the people. So when it does happen,
Right.
you already feel like, oh man, I already know you.
You know who to call.
Well, I know I broke the mold from you got to go here to going somewhere else. And that is like something to deal
I
with
know.
too. That's a big hurdle.
Yes.
But we always do it this way. We always go to this one. It doesn't have to be that way.
That's
No.
how it's always been.
Just to know there's options out there.
There are options
There
and
are, and you can't be afraid to.
not always about
Hop
the
in.
money, right?
Yeah.
It's not always about the money, but it
No.
sure does help when there's a refreshing new way to do the things that you have to do at the end of life.
Yes.
Very-
It's really more about how it makes you feel.
They're very empathetic. And I
Yes.
think that it's genuine. So that's one.
And
One-
women owned and operated has a nurturing aspect to it already.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell our listening audience how to reach you.
So you can stop by at any time, really. We're at 460 Palm Coast Parkway in Suite 3. It's the Aza Health Plaza behind the new Advent Health. So you can pop in there and kind of check out what we've described as the beachy living room theme. Or you can call us or go on our website.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
All right. We'll have to have her back, I guess,
Yes.
as the rest.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Our listening audience, we will see you again next time at B3.